Yeah, so today we're going to be going through some tips and tricks that you can use for your exams and different kind of things to help you with your studying. So there's going to be 6 different things I'm going to talk to you about what you should do to make the writing of your papers a little bit smoother. Okay. So like tip number 1 is to know what is in each paper and to know what to study. So paper 1 is your civil analytical, your civil drawings, your perspective, solid geometry, interpenetration and development, as well as your transition pieces. Okay. Paper 2 will be mechanical analytical, mechanical assembly, isometric, loci-cam, loci-helix, loci-mechanism. Okay. And then the ones that you generally get in a paper is mechanical analytical, mechanical assembly, and an isometric. Okay, so those I feel like are ones that are constantly in papers. Doesn't mean you should disregard the rest, because they normally throw in like a loci-cam with this or a loci mechanism. It's up to them. So everything can be asked, but these 3 are like the main ones that get asked. Okay, the same with paper 1. It's normally gets asked civil analytical, civil drawing, perspective, and then they'll normally throw in either solid geometry, interpenetration, or transition pieces. Okay, so that is step number 1, is obviously to know exactly what to study. So yeah, step number 2 is to know the different views. So I feel like I shouldn't need to mention this, but I'm going to mention it, is because a lot of people don't know the point of why we have to know the different views. So I'm also going to explain that now quickly for you. But yeah, so you need to know the different views. So paper 1 is your first orthographic projection and paper 2 is your third. Okay, and to explain it to you quickly, I'm just going to first go through the different views and then explain why we have these different view orientations. Okay, so the first orthographic view is a woman. I want you to think of her as a woman. And the third I want you to think of as a man. Okay, so, let's start with the men, because I think it's going to be a lot easier for me to explain. Apologies as well for holding my camera. I know a couple of kids have said to me I need to fix it. It should be fixed by the end of the year, but yeah, just bear with me for now. Okay, so men are more straightforward thinking. So I want you to think of a cube when you think of third orthographic projection for men, right? So say your man is standing over here and he is looking this way. The front view of the cube would be here. This would obviously be the top. This would be right and this would be left. Okay, which is why we draw the view as top, front, right, and left. And then we have our 45 degrees and our 45 degrees. Okay, do you see it's very straightforward? If you think of a cube, you know exactly how this view orientation is. Okay, now the reason why I say first orthographic is like a woman is because the orientation is a little bit confusing, and women are confusing. We are very emotional and we are confusing. Personally, that's how I feel about us. Okay, so first orthographic for woman. Okay, think of woman like the insurance company, first for woman. Okay, so we have front, top, left, right, 45 degrees, 45 degrees. Do you see how it's so different? This one is logical. You can see exactly where these views came from. And in this one, it's why is the front at the top? Why is the left on the right side? So this is why we're going to refer to this one as a woman, because the thinking is a little bit more complex, where men are just straightforward thinkers. Okay, so the reason why you need to know these views, okay, is because the reason why you need to know these views is, so say you get oh my goodness, can I just stay focused? There we go. Let's do this again. So say you get something for your orthographic views, so you get that, and then you get something like this. Okay, it's not gonna be perfect. It's just to give you an idea of what we're working with. Okay, so say you get something like that, and then you get this at the top, obviously, along with your section like that. Okay, so the reason why we have these views is because we know this is the front view and this is the top view. But when they give you a question, they don't always say this is specified as the front view and this is specified as the top view. They'll say they've given you a top and a front view. Okay, but you have to figure out which view is which is why it is so important for you to know this. Because if you're given this and you don't know your views, you're going to struggle to picture what is being drawn because you have no idea what the views are. And that is why it is so important for you to know your orientations. Okay, so that just comes with practice. That's the advice I'm going to give you. Okay, step 3, like the third thing that you need to do to make sure your exam goes a lot better, is to practice timing. Okay, so we know that for most papers you are given about, well, I think it is 3 hours. Okay. Oh my goodness, I cannot. Okay, 3 hours. Okay, so what I used to do, and I think it's a very good thing for you to do as well, is you pick topics. So you know that there's normally like 4 topics per paper that you need to draw. Oh my word, I cannot with this anymore. Okay, 4 topics. So say you get civil analytical. So you're going to go topic 1. It took me 15 minutes to do civil analytical. Topic 2 was civil drawing. It took me an hour. Okay, then you say, okay, 2 topics have already taken me an hour 15 minutes and I only have 3 hours. Okay, so what are you going to do next? And you're going to go, okay, practice perspective, it takes me an hour to do. Okay, that means that solid geometry needs to take me 45 minutes so that I finish in time. But wait, I still want time to check my paper afterwards. So what can I learn to do quicker so that I have more time remaining? So say you decide, okay, solid geometry is going to take you 45 minutes, but perspective, maybe you can bring it down to 50 minutes, and then that will leave you with 10 minutes to spare with checking your paper. So my advice is to practice your timing. Okay, so just know, like if you struggle with perspective and it takes you an hour, you need to like work something else out. Or say perspective takes you an hour and 15 minutes, you need to bring something else down. Okay, so practice your timing. Time yourself while drawing and see how long it takes you to complete the drawing, because you might think, okay, I know everything, but now you're taking forever to draw because you take time to draw. So you need to work on, okay, I know exactly what to do, but I need to work on my timing. Okay, so that's something you need to do. The 4th thing is to just practice. So just because you know like what a topic means does not mean you're gonna like just succeed. So practice. Be like, okay, I'm going to practice 1 drawing every day. And then you can do your timing as well. You can say, okay, for 45 minutes a day, I'm gonna practice a drawing. So say in 45 minutes you want to practice solid geometry one day. Okay. So yeah, you got to practice, because you can understand the theory and you can understand what to do, but unless you practice, you're never going to know how to do things quickly. And you're also not going to be able to visualize certain things, because if you struggle with visualizing, it just comes down to practice. You need to practice. The more you practice, the better you're going to get at visualizing things. Okay. The 5th step is equipment, confidence, and skills. Okay. So I just want to stop this video quickly and draw a circle so I can explain to you what I mean. Okay, so what I mean by equipment confidence is so many people take a really, really long time to draw certain things. Okay, so say like you're sectioning a circle. Okay, we obviously know you have your middle bit and you have the vertical middle bits. Let me actually change this. Okay, so say it's like that. Okay, this is not 100% accurate, but we'll work with it. Okay, so you've now sectioned your circle. Okay, you need to have the confidence and the ability to know how to section it quickly, because you can go like this and then you immediately know, great, you can do the next side. Okay, then you flip your ruler, there's your next point, and then you flip your ruler and there's your next point. Okay, and the reason why I say this is because it's so much quicker when you know how to move things around to get different things quicker. Because too many times I see people going like this. Okay, they've got this point, but now they want to get the 60 degrees going the other way. So instead of just flipping the compass and going, okay, that's my next 60 degrees, they go 60 degrees and then they turn it around and go like that, which is fine because it's the same angle, but it takes time because people are figuring out, oh, which angle is where, how do I get that angle? Okay, you need to practice, and you need to like learn how to use your tools confidently. Okay, the next bit of advice I'm going to give you is part of your equipment advice is that you need to refill your equipment the night before. So say you're working with a clutch pencil, make sure the lead is in the clutch pencil. Say your compass needs a refill the lead in your compass. Make sure you have all the equipment. Make sure you pack a calculator. Make sure you have an eraser. Make sure you have two, because I've done this before during an exam where you're busy erasing, and next thing you look at the erasers lying across the floor because you were erasing so like rough. It happens. Make sure you have extra. Make sure you come fully prepared. You don't want to be a sitting duck because you didn't prepare yourself fast enough. Okay. And then the last bit of advice is to actually study. Now, this is not to be like funny or anything, but there are a lot of people who don't study, and then they wonder why they get upset because they didn't do well with EGD. And you actually have to study. Like, you can't just work in class, understand a topic, and then just think like, okay, I'm going to do well. Like, actually go through different questions you could get asked, do past papers, practice. So I'm not saying this is going to apply to all of you, but for those of you, like, be honest with yourself. If you know you're not very serious, that's your problem. You need to study. So actually do your studying. Okay. So that's basically the advice I have for you. And then a few little tips and tricks that I do have for you just before we finish is, you see like this line here, it's like rough. So it's not like I actually drew anything here. It's just dirt. To prevent that on your paper and to make sure you are neater, put baby powder on your paper before you start. It prevents this kind of like messiness. And then sometimes in an exam, when they print the paper, let's draw the line over here. Do you see like the borders skew? Like it's not straight because you put your ruler down and then you're like, oh, but there's a gap. How do I fix that? Because say you've been given a like starting point, and now you obviously need that point to be straight for you to actually draw. My advice to you would be to always just make sure your papers are straight according to the lines that they've printed. Okay, so it might be straight in the board, but if the line is skewed, then you need to adjust it. So what you do is you just take your ruler and you're going to basically line up the line with your ruler just like that. Do you see how the paper is like overall very skew on the board? That's okay because the lines here are straight, and then you're just going to clip it in and work like that. Okay, so those are my like little tips that I would give you. But yeah, so I hope this helped. Let me know if you'd like me to make a video of how long I think you should be taking for the different topics when you're practicing your drawing. But that's basically the advice I have for you. So I hope it helps you.